Okay, can you guys see my screen?
So,
Yes, sir.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
See my screen? Okay, okay.
Sir.
So we were discussing one revision topic, and we have completed 7 points. So it was on functions of industrial engineering. Okay, one of the questions that can be asked is functions of industrial engineering, and it can also be asked for a 14-mark question directly as a 14-mark question. Okay, so please study now itself, or you can even take out the PPT. I have provided you the PDFs earlier, and you can refer that also. So it is given here functions of industrial engineering. Okay, so the first one was method study, then came motion study, then time study, then production planning and control, then comes human resources, then establishing the performance standards, statistical quality control. So this much we have discussed. Okay, the next one is quality. So uh, obviously, quality we have already stated in the statistical quality control itself. So under that, quality is nothing but we are checking if it is appropriate or it serves the functions as mentioned by the customer. So that is what is coming under quality. So different quality type products may be there. So you have all purchased chairs at your home, right? So there are plastic chairs, and depending upon the grade of plastic used, there is various quality for all the chairs. So that is how the quality is measured, and according to the quality, we are giving uh, a logo or a ISO watermark to the product to determine its level of quality. So different types of ISO logos are present, and it states what level of quality is that product. Okay, sometimes you can see a star itself. If you look at the plastic water bottles are there, right? So if we can't use plastic water bottles as such, because sometimes we'll be pouring hot water into it, and that will be harmful for us if we drink that water, because there will be an amount of plastic inside that water itself. Okay, but there is a grade of plastic wherein which you can even pour hot water. Such a grade is called 5. If you look at a underneath a water bottle, not that type of a mineral water and all, but mineral water plastic is the lowest grade of plastic. Okay, so apart from that, you can see other hard water bottles are there that are with plastic itself, and underneath that you can see a star or a circle inside which there is a number written 5. Okay, that 5 determines the quality. So 5 is the highest quality, and it is given for that plastic water bottle so that it does not decompose inside the hot water. Okay, and that is not harmful to drink that water. That is the basis for using that kind of plastic. So that is determined by quality. I have only stated an example regarding that. So next, that was quality. Next factor comes design of inventory control. So that is also another part of industrial engineering. So we have already discussed a wide variety of inventory management and how the inventory was classified and how it was kept and what are the costs that is incurred during that inventory management. Such and all we have already discussed. Okay, Based on that itself, you can understand what is industrial engineering design there. So industrial engineering, when implemented into inventory control, we are looking for the inventory to have sufficient number of products, or sufficient inventory must be there only for keeping the demand, only for the demand. Okay. So for that purpose only, you have to have sufficient inventory. Over or surplus inventory always leads to holding cost, or overhead cost, and this is undesirable. And for that purpose, we have to have sufficient inventory only. So there must not be a lot of inventory, only that which we need. So that is how we are designing. So we are designing on basis of the demand. So how much product is being sold in the market, that much product has to be replaced in the market. So you obviously know, in a shop, if you're going to buy something and multiple people, even if it's a soap, so multiple people buys that soap, right? And the stock inside that market will be decreased, or it will be completely run out of stock. So once that happens, what they do, they bring in another batch of soaps, right? Or they from the same company itself. So it has to be at that time given from that inventory to the market. So for that, it must be always present inside the inventory. So that is how we will design the inventory. So according to the demand only, the inventory must be gone, and for that, the inventory must be sufficient. Inventory must be present inside the inventory of the country. Inventory of the industry. Okay, so that is coming under design of inventory control. Next comes developing standard training programs. So that is also another function of an industrial engineer, or coming under industrial engineering, training programs. So function of training program is nothing but to train the individuals with sufficient technology that is being used in the company. This happens in two ways. First, for a new trainee in the sense a fresher. So you guys have been studying engineering, right? I think no one is working at present. So those who have worked are classified as somewhat skilled or somewhat experienced people. Others are termed as freshers. So most of you are freshers, and you will be going for any job. So you'll be seeking out job, and from that job, when you are entering a job, you are a fresher. You don't have any experience prior to working in that company. So you will be having some training programs. So that is only with one aim in mind. So it is nothing but to develop the standard procedures that are inside the company. So you must first know about what are the procedures that is coming into the company. So that is one way of developing training programs. Okay. Another method is during a technological update. So once an update is formed inside the company, or in the industry, new standards are coming based on that equipment, or based on that technological update. Okay, so we have to, that worker has to know how to operate it, and what all the work has to be done with that new technology. Okay, and for that there will be a training program by an individual who knows how to work the particular machine, or how to work with the technological update. So in these two conditions, we are developing standard training programs. Okay, so that was developing standard training programs. Next, facilities planning and material handling. So that is a next part. It is also part of inventory control, but it is not entirely about that. Facilities basically are the facilities that is present inside the industry. Okay, facilities that is present inside the industry. It can be any machines or inventory management machines. So you know about forklift truck and all, like cranes, conveyors. So these are all facilities. Also even small facilities, that is air conditioning, fan, lights, switches. So everything, canteen facility, a lavatory, etc. These are all coming under facilities, and we have to plan it ahead. So if there are multiple number of workers, they have, for leisure time, they must have a canteen. So that is a facility, right? And that is also another facility plan. So these are all planned ahead before the company starts or before individuals come into the company, or if you're planning to merge a company, various facilities are there, and that is coming under facility planning. Next comes material handling. So material, you know what all are the materials that is involved in the industry. There may be raw materials, there may be work in process products, there may be components that are provided through subcontracting. So many materials are there, right? And we have to control or handle such materials, and we can't put buy all this material and put and dump it in one place. If you're dumping it, you can't find it, right? We have already learned about the 5S system, under which we are sorting, cleaning, etc. So the purpose of that is nothing but you have to obtain that material with the most least amount of time. So time was considered as a waste during lean manufacturing. So that time has to be eliminated, and you have to handle the materials more perfectly. So for that purpose, we have to include a process or include a method for handling that material. So we are planning that in ahead. Okay. So if you can only plan that, then only you can involve such facilities in an industry, and that is also a part of industrial engineering. And the last one is value analysis. Sorry, second last one is value analysis. So under value analysis, earlier we have studied, I think in the third module, about value engineering and value analysis. Okay, and there's nothing but while we are stating the value, or what is the value that is obtained for each operation, or for the product. So what is the value for that product? So under lean manufacturing itself, we have um, learned about value stream mapping. So one of the purposes of value stream mapping was to obtain the value of the product. We have to set that value for the product, and in order to set that value, we have to first uh, validize, or we have to give value to the operations that is carried out. Okay, so as an example, I had told you before about the work using a lathe and CNC. So both are same type of machines. Sorry, both are performing same type of operations to produce a product. So you have already studied in that metrology lab about how you can function it with a lathe. Okay, and you have seen the finishing of the product inside the lathe. And under that lathe, you can see itself that product finish is not that much perfect. So you can see some types of bits and all sticking to the surface of that product. Okay, but in the case of a CNC, the same operations are carried out, but the efficiency and the finish of that product is very high. So you can even rub your hands on that product, so that there will be no bits on that surface and it will not tear your hand or your palm. Okay, so that is the advantage of using CNC. So both are same, but due to the operation carried out in the CNC, and the price of the CNC is much higher than lathe, obviously the value of the product produced from a CNC will be higher than which is produced by the lathe. So that is the difference there. When using CNC, the product has a high quality finish, but the operations are hugely expensive, because for a lathe machines, about I think 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs has to be provided for such a one instrument itself. So if you have to produce multiple products, you have to install multiple number of CNCs. Okay, and also the facilities for providing a CNC are high, because CNC cannot be put in a lab, as you can see in the case of your lake. Okay, it is set in a lab and it is a humid atmosphere, but you can't keep a CNC in such a condition. You have to put the CNC in a air conditioned room. So there must be an AC presence. It will generate a huge amount of temperatures in that machine, and it will damage if the surrounding atmosphere does not have a lower temperature. So if it has a lower temperature, the heat will be dissipated to the surroundings, and there will be not much damage to the machine. So it must be kept in a AC or air conditioning room. So that is also another requirement. So this also further increases the value. So that is what is coming under value analysis. So under that process, we are determining the value for the product on basis of the operations that is carried out prior to the production. Okay, that is coming under value analysis. Then the last one is job evaluation. So once we are done all these process up to production, we are obviously measuring the job done. Okay, that comes in the form of performance of the worker or the quality test of the product, and how fast the work is being done, what is the productivity that is obtained. So these are all coming under job evaluation, and on basis of this job evaluation only then we will be preparing the salary statement for or the wages for the laborers who are involved in the process. Okay, so every job evaluation, or we are giving salary for each and every month. If you are giving salary for each and every month, and it is done on the basis of all the work done during individual days. So if there is 30 days or 31 days in the month, you are evaluating that 30 days or 31 days and what work was done, or that what is the period of work, and if there is any leave, etc. These are all one type of evaluation. Okay, and on basis of that evaluation we are determining what salary has to be incurred to that particular individual. So that is also a part of job evaluation, and the evaluating a job always helps in creating more and more new techniques to improve the system currently placed. Okay, that is one of the main part of job evaluation. Okay, so these are the 13 types of functions under industrial engineering. This is why I told it may be asked as a 14-mark question directly. So there is some points only mentioned here. You can even write more points on basis of the explanation I have given. So once you have written such an explanation, you will be obviously given 14 mark itself. Okay, that is one of the important questions. Functions of industrial engineering. 13 points: method study, motion study, time study, production planning and control, human resources, establishing the performance standards, statistical quality control, quality, design of inventory control, developing standard training programs, facilities planning and material handling, value analysis, and the last one, job evaluation. So these are the points coming under functions of industrial engineering. Next topic it is shown here, applications of industrial engineering. It is a general topic and you need not uh, prioritize this one. So that is not that important. You can look when you can study. Uh, Okay, next one is design function. So obviously you have seen that model question paper, and under the question paper itself you could see that all questions or the majority of the questions was based on product design, right? So designing is an important part in this module. So based on design there are basic topics and those all are important. Okay, and under design functions there are basically two functions you can see here. Basically there are two functions, one is basic functions and other one is secondary functions. So we will look at what is basic function and secondary function. So basic function is the primary purpose for which the item or service is designed when it is operated in the normally prescribed manner. Okay, one example, you all have heard about chairs, right? So chairs is used for the purpose of sitting. So that is called the basic function. Chairs are used for sitting. That is the basic function of a chair. Okay. Additional functions that we are providing. Sometimes that chair will be provided with a cup holder. Okay, you can place a jar of cup or something like that. You can place, or it is a foldable chair. Okay, that those functions are termed as secondary function. So that is the difference there. So basic function is always the function that the product has to be given or the product has to perform to satisfy the customer demand. So customer is obviously providing the demand, and from that customer demand, a function is determined. Okay, and that function has to be done, as I have said in the case of sitting in a chair. So sitting is the function there. And additional functions such as I have mentioned about a cup holder, foldable chair, etc. Okay, these are coming under secondary functions. So you can look at here. Secondary functions are one that support the basic functions and hence are sometimes referred to as support functions. So they help the basic function. They are given additional functions. Okay, so okay, then a result from a specific design approach to achieve the basic function. So they will be giving a gimmick to the product. So one example here it is shown, a package is there. So the basic function of a package is to hold the product inside it securely. It must not move, it must not spill outwards, but it has to be present inside that cover. Okay, that is the basic function. Additionally, we may be providing some stickers over here, or we'll be providing some designs, or we can make a see-through cellophane paper can be put here, so you can see inside what is there. Okay, these are all gimmicks provided into that product to give it a secondary function. So these are known as secondary functions, and they are classified into two again. One is required functions and other one is unwanted functions. Okay, so if we are coming into a foldable chair example, that foldable chair can be used, or that function can be used when we have to transport the chair. If you want to transport the chair from one place to another, you can have a foldable chair, and that is one of the required functions. Okay, it can be used in such a manner. So people regarding people who are camping or tending, or they have to keep on moving from one place to another, they can obviously bring a foldable chair. That is called a required secondary function. But in the case of unwanted functions, as I have shown here, where you will be providing designs on that. That design is nothing but to attract the customer only. So it does not provide any additional function as to improve the quality or flavor of the product inside. It does not do anything like that. It only provides a gimmick such as it is only visually good for an customer. Maybe it will attract him to buy that product. That is the function of a drawing or a design on the cover of that cover that is shown here. And since it is providing only that function, it is not an useful function, hence it is called an unwanted function, unwanted secondary function. Okay, so hope you understood the two different types of functions. So required secondary functions is also given here. The other is the unwanted secondary function. So two examples are given here. So the example given for required secondary function is the conversion of energy, generation of light, etc. by the LCD projector. So we are providing current energy. Okay, and in an LCD projector that we have been displayed, or during class we have seen an LCD projector, right? And in that projector, what we are getting? We are getting an image by means of a light energy or by means of generation of light. So we are converting the electricity or the household electricity that we are obtaining at the switches, and then we are converting into light. That is the required function. We want the LCD projector to have that function. But some of the unwanted secondary function is that due to overrunning of the projector, there will be obviously generation of heat, noise, etc. in the LCD projector. So we can't avoid that, but we don't want that. We don't have any use of big LCD projector being heated up, and this heat is only inheriting our functions. Okay, it is not desirable, and that is why it is termed as unwanted secondary function. So that is basically about primary and secondary functions. Next topic is obviously again an important topic that is also shown in the sample paper, and it is about the objectives of product design. Okay, so there are 10 objectives shown here itself. Okay, we will look at each and every one of them. First one, we are going for design. Okay, uh, we have already learned about the operations that is coming under product design, and one of the objectives, the first one is stated nothing but the overall objective of product design is profit generation in the long run. So that is the basic purpose of product design. So we are designing the product in such a way that it must last or it must have a larger product life cycle. So we will be coming to the product life cycle. So I hope you already know about that. So there is a period, right, for that product to be present in the market, or it must be having some kind of demand, and that demand period must be in a higher range so as this product can survive for a longer time. And for that purpose, only if that is done, can we incur more profit. So we can only generate more profit if the product is staying in the market, right? So that is the main aim of product design. So profit generation, that is the first point. Second one, the essence of product design is to satisfy customer requirements. That is the second point. Requirement mentioned by the customer. Obviously, we have studied about the functions of industrial engineering, and under that itself, I have already told you of depending upon the demand, and that demand is nothing but the customer demand. The customer is giving the demand, and based on that customer demand, we are creating some principles or objectives, and based on that objectives, we are creating the product. And how is the product design? It will be having maximizes the value for the customer at a minimum cost and time. So maximizing the value means the product will be of higher quality. So the value of the product is very high. Okay, value means if it is a if you are creating a product and it fails very fastly during the small running period, and if it fails, obviously that product is of lower quantity or the value of the product is very low. But if it is lasting for some time, then obviously the value of the product is very high and the customer will pay the price required for that product. Okay, but the customer always requires a product that has value, that has maximum value but minimum cost. That is how the customer always likes. So we don't always prefer things with a heavy price, right? You all know about the petrol price nowadays. So it is increasing. So once it increases and increases, because it is a necessity commodity, that is why people are still using it. Also, people have started to buy electric vehicles to replace the petrol engine powered vehicles. Okay, the reason for is the increase in the price of the fuel that is being used in the engines. Okay, so that is how the customer is moving. So the customer is looking for the value of the product. Okay, so in an electric vehicle, obviously the electric vehicle can run and it can also go sufficient distance, not as mentioned by the IC engine or our petrol run engine, but it will still give the function. What is a function? Transportation from one place to another. That is a function. So it also serves that function also with a minimum cost. So that is where it is different. You can use the household current that is provided in the homes, and with that you can charge the battery of the car or the electric car. And this is advantageous because the price of electricity is much lower when compared to the price of fuel, that is petrol. That is why customer takes or prefers an electric vehicle over a petrol engine. Okay, so they require the value of the product or the function of the product at minimum cost and time. So that is the second objective of product design. First was profit generation. Next one, satisfy customer requirement on basis of minimum cost and time. Okay, that is second product design objective. Next one is to achieve the desired product quality. So already it has to satisfy customer requirements, right? To satisfy customer requirements, obviously it must be of higher quality so as to maximize the value of the product in in the eyes of the customer. So the value must be a higher product, and for that purpose, the product quality must be high. So now we have discussed 3 points. First is profit generation. Next, satisfy customer requirements. Third is desired product quality. Okay, going on to the next point. The design should enable the product to perform its desired function with desired accuracy, reliability, and strength. So already the functions are stated on basis of the customer. Okay, once it is being set, that function or the product must perform that function. So if you are taking the example of a chair, the function or the primary function is sitting, and it must always satisfy that function. If you are sitting and the chair breaks, you obviously the quality of the product is low and it is not performing that desired function. And how do you have to perform? The performance must will be there. If you are using the chair, it is okay for about a week. After a week it fails or it breaks down. So what happens there? The function is satisfied, but it does not have the desired accuracy, reliability, or strength. So that is also another key point. It must perform the desired function with the desired accuracy. So that function must be exact. If it is 100% of that function is being stated, the 100% of that function has to be satisfied. So if there is a function sitting on the chair, that sitting must be satisfied at all conditions, that is desired accuracy. Then reliability in the terms of the period of time, it must be used for a longer period. So if we have chairs at our home and we can sit it for many years, right? So that is the reliability of that product. So if we can use it for more time, then obviously that product is of reliable reliability is more. So another example is the shaving blades you have used. Okay, there is types of shaving blades where some are disposable type, right? So you can use it for a sufficient amount of shaves only. After that, you have to discard it. But there are other type of shaving sets in which it will last for years itself, right? So the reliability of that one is very higher when compared with the disposable one. So that is in terms of reliability. It must be present for, it must not fail for a longer period of time. So that is reliability. Next one is strength. So it must not fail under any load. So if you have a chair, many the people sitting on it may not be of the same weight, right? There will be many kind of weights, ranging from maybe if you smaller children is about 25 to higher about 150 and all people comes, right? There are basics of many uh, weight differences between various people, and for that each purpose, the sitting purpose must be satisfied with the sufficient strength. The strength must be there. Okay, for an average human being, it is about 75 kilo to 90 kilograms. That is the average range, and for that purpose only the chair is being manufactured. Okay, for that average function. So that is what is coming on. So it must satisfy all these three functions: accuracy, reliability, and strength. And only then the product's function is satisfied, or we can say that the function is being satisfied. So the fourth point is nothing but enable the product to perform its desired function with desired accuracy, reliability, and strength. So the first one was profit generation. Second one was satisfy customer requirements. Third one was desired product quality. Fourth one was to perform desired function with the desired accuracy, reliability, and strength. Okay. Next point, the design should allow the product to be easily, uh, okay, design should allow the product to be used easily with minimum possible fatigue. Fatigue is nothing but the stress we are occurring. Okay. So as an example, uh, you all have seen KSRTC buses, right? So if you have seen old KSRTC buses, you may have observed how the driver adjusts the gear inside the machine, inside the vehicle. Okay, he struggles a lot with the brake, with the gear lever. Okay, such and all he will have a problems. Okay, even conventional vehicles like Maruti 800, Altos, all the cars, Ambassadors, Jeeps, etc., all have a conventional type of gearbox wherein you have to give sufficient stress or sufficient power to handle that vehicle. Okay, but in today's vehicle, in conventional, sorry, in modern days vehicle, there is something called as power assisted systems, power steering, power hydraulic type gear lever systems, etc. Okay, so many technical terms, but the major function is that it is providing an ease in the fatigue, or we have to provide only a small load to that thing to have or to achieve that function. So the function is to turn the vehicle. If you are using a power steering, you just have to give a small degree of turn of the steering wheel to achieve the maximum turn in the vehicle. But in the case of using an ambassador car or a jeep, you have to give it a sufficient amount of power to turn the steering wheel itself, and you have to turn it more to achieve that degree of turn. So that is a difference there. Okay, so that is meant by fatigue. So you have to design the product in a simple way, and it must not be tiresome for the people using it. So that is also another uh, another objective of product design. So we have discussed about the 5 objectives now. First one was profit generation. Second one was satisfy customer requirements. Third one was to achieve desired product quality. Fourth one was to perform its desired function with the desired accuracy, reliability, and strength. And fifth one was to design must have minimum possible fatigue, or that is known as ergonomics. Okay, these are the 5 points. The rest we will discuss in the next class.
Not important questions.